When life gets unpredictable, preparation matters. In medicine, it's all about staying alert, ready for whatever comes through the door. On the road, it's no different. That's why Volvo designs vehicles to help anticipate risk, reduce harm, and protect lives. The Volvo XC90's advanced safety systems inspire confident decisions wherever the road takes you. The Volvo XC90, for life. Proud sponsor of the Pit Podcast. Learn more at volvocars.ca/safety.
More and more families are leaving the island.
Obviously, French language is a little drop of water in a gigantic desert.
You don't have enough people to work. That's not something good for the economy.
The top stories in the city. The Big Five on the Elias Macco Show. Brought to you by investment advisor Richard Lapointe of CIBC Wood Gundy. Richard Lapointe can always be reached at 847-6324.
Current administration at City Hall, Projet Montréal, Valérie Plante, they are the green administration. They care about climate more than you, and they're willing to prove it. And at the same time, they're getting rid of one way people have been using to get out of cars, and that's e-scooters. One of the things that'll be up for debate on the Big Five right here, right now. Joining me on today's edition, Trudie Mason, how are you?
Well, good morning.
You know who's bopping to the beat there? Dave Kaufman. Hi, Dave.
Good morning, Elias.
By the way, I keep getting text messages from listeners. I've gotten Facebook messages. Elias, what is the song you play?
It's Run the Jewels, isn't it?
Well, it's DJ Shadow,
Okay.
and featuring Run the Jewels in the song, and it's called Nobody Speak, and I always found it hilarious that talk show theme song is called Nobody Speak. So that's the song, and I haven't told anyone what when I keep getting these messages, and I haven't said anything because I was speaking to Brian Calazar, who's one of the technical producers at the station. He's like, no, keep everyone in the dark, don't tell anyone. It'll keep it mysterious. And I sort of like, okay, sure, but I keep getting those messages. So that it's Nobody Speak, DJ Shadow.
The music video for this song is so good.
Oh yeah, by the way,
so good.
Do not listen to the version of this song with the lyrics, by the way, with children in the room. It is not appropriate, okay? And the video, not appropriate for kids. Okay, let's get talking here. Big story. It's still this is the biggest story in Canada right now. Of course, talking about the rail blockades. And yesterday, what a day yesterday was. First off, the Assembly of First Nations speaking in Ottawa. And, on this station, we aired Joseph Norton and Serge Otzi Simon. I'm missing up the three names. Is it Serge Otzi Simon? Is it that order?
Yeah.
So, we heard their impassioned pleas. Then 11 o'clock, House of Commons, the Prime Minister. And then after he gets out of the House of Commons, more from the Prime Minister. I want to play you a bit here because, everyone's a hypocrite, right? Everyone's a hypocrite. No matter what, everyone finds a way to be a hypocrite. But here's the Prime Minister yesterday. I want to play you two clips. One from the House of Commons and then from outside in the halls of Parliament. Have a listen.
But we need to ensure that we are also listening to each other. The reality of populism, Mr. Speaker, and its siren song in our democracies these days is a desire to listen only to oneself and to people who agree with them, and not with people of another perspective. The leader of the official opposition, the leader of the Conservatives, excluded himself from this conversation with his unacceptable approach.
So, within I think that's, an hour and a half apart there, where he's like, we always have to listen to people, be willing to listen to people of other perspectives. And then he has the leaders meeting, and he excludes the leader of the official opposition. He may be a lame duck, but he's still the leader of the official opposition. And says, no, sorry, I didn't like what you said in the House of Commons. And he had terse, direct words, the worst management of a national crisis ever. That's what Andrew Scheer said. You left out weak.
Yes, I was expecting weak sauce, actually. I thought that there was going to be a weak sauce.
No, it was word salad.
Yes,
that was another one.
His word salad.
God, and did you see the tweet from Andrew Scheer last night where he tweeted out a clip from The Simpsons and it's from an episode. This is the weirdest thing. Andrew Scheer just tweets out a clip from The Simpsons of Bill Clinton, who's being mind controlled by aliens.
Yes, twirling
towards
right.
He sends that out as like, this is what Trudeau is, right? And I was like, where have we, the level of speech in this country, what have we been brought down to?
And this is the one thing I have in common with Andrew Scheer. He's a massive Simpsons fan.
Okay, but let's talk about Trudeau and what he said in the House of Commons, and then not having Andrew Scheer. Do you sense that there's a disconnect between what he said in the House of Commons and how he backed it up moments later?
Yeah, I feel he made the wrong call on that. I understand that it can't be comfortable to have your political opponent stand up in front of Parliament and in front of the cameras that everyone's glued to, and say really nasty things about you. But I think he should have abided by that old Obama approach.
Mm-hmm.
When they go low, we go high. Yeah. And he should have made a point of saying, you know what, even though I disagree heartily with the very critical Andrew Scheer, I'm still inviting him to my meeting because this is how we're going to resolve this.
But how often does he get hit hard by conservatives? Trudeau gets hit hard all the time for being, effeminate and not being manly enough and now he's like, you know what? Screw you. You're not coming to my meeting. And now he's getting it as well. The guy can't win.
He's
right?
No, it's damned if you do and damned if you don't. I think that going into applying for the job of Prime Minister of Canada. You're never going to be able to please anybody or everybody all of the time. Scheer made some comments even before this House of Commons conversation the speech yesterday, that I thought were potentially disqualifying about the radical activists and about people that didn't have jobs out there protesting and they obviously don't have anything better to do. Things like that I thought disqualified him. I know that
disqualified him for a meeting between all the leaders.
Well,
I agree.
Disqualified him from finding a solution. I think is more like it. And I know that the Bloc sort of implied that they supported Scheer, right? The Bloc said that they had his back in this, and Yves-François Blanchet was at the meeting. Singh has been extremely critical of the president, Jagmeet Singh, and he was a prime minister, and he was at the meeting as well. Look, I think that we've seen that the collegiality between Andrew Scheer and Justin Trudeau has reached its apex. We are done.
These guys hate each other.
That's right. And the sooner that the Conservatives have a new leader is better for the country and better for the Conservative Party.
I still think you should have been at the meeting.
I don't disagree with you. I understand why Trudeau was given an out. It's not like he just came at this on his own. I think he was given an out here.
Yeah.
And frankly, way bigger fish to fry with this blockade than whether Andy Scheer comes to the meeting or not.
Are we at all closer to a solution?
No.
We're not.
No, we're not. I think that people are digging in on both sides right now.
So, it's not a deadline. It's not, but we have companies saying, okay, Friday, that's the day. We don't have action by Friday. Now the layoffs begin.
Yeah,
right?
and then we might have to boil our water. How ironic is that? After all of these Native communities for so many years.
Is it going to be irony when we don't have prescription drugs anymore and First Nations people and non-First Nations people are all dropping like flies? Because that's the way I look at this. The impacts of the blockade are going to hit everybody equally. And I think that the people leading the blockades need to understand that. They use gas and propane too. They rely on pharmaceuticals that may not get to them. They rely on I was reading just about the amount of flour that's building up at milling operations out west. We need to eat. We need our prescription drugs. We need our stores to have goods in them. This is going to affect us all.
And the elders out west said that if the RCMP were to pull out of lands and stop training their guns on them, then they would let the trains go through. So it's not like there's only one answer to this. I think that there is a way to move forward, and perhaps there's a compromise. I don't think either side is going to win, but I think we need to show our Indigenous brothers and sisters that we understand. We understand what they are going through as well, and that we are in this together.
A good compromise is when nobody is happy at the end of the day, right? But I just don't even see that happening.
The top stories in the city. The Big Five on the Elias Macco Show.
All right, back here on the Big Five, Trudie Mason, Dave Kaufman in studio with me this morning. Well, the city has just announced that e-scooters will not return to Montreal roads this year. This is an administration that keeps telling us that they are so green and you are not woke enough when it comes to green issues, and we will be the party of the environment, and here's what we're going to do. We have no time to wait. they're tackling things that the federal government should be tackling, and they're doing it in a big way. And you've got this little service, e-scooters. You got two companies that were in the city. You got Lime and you've got Bird. And to me, they represented something that's sorely needed, which is a mode of transportation that doesn't rely on you getting into an internal combustion engine and being driven for 5 minutes, right? A lot of these rides in Ubers are really short trips. And I know I speak to people, they're like, yeah, I don't mind paying $8 for a quick short trip. And then you have a service that comes into town and is actually a service that attacks these types of trips that are really bad for the environment. And the city says, yeah, you know what? We're not happy. 80% of the time, people didn't park the scooters the right way. And why this gets me is that the city looks at a situation where 80% of people don't follow the regulation, and they say to themselves in their brain, oh, you know what? The people are wrong. It's not our regulation that's wrong, right? The problem the whole time has been this stupid, moronic regulation that, oh, the scooters can only be parked in these determined areas that, by the way, we're removing a parking space for. And the reason why e-scooters work in cities where they work is because you walk outside the door, there's a scooter right in front of you, or just half a block away, or right outside your door, there's a scooter waiting for you. You get on the scooter, you take it right to your destination, you leave the scooter there. That's how they work. That's how they get people out of cars. And in this city, we come up with the stupidest regulation possible. It's got to be in these predetermined zones. So you've got to walk 3 blocks till you get to your scooter, and then 3 or 4 more blocks when you get to your destination, which makes no sense because it's a time killer. And they look at this situation, 80% of people don't follow that regulation in their brains. The problem isn't them and their stupid regulations, it's the e-scooters.
I'm tearing up for the plight of these scooter users who have to walk 3 blocks. You know, come on, Elias. This is a niche service that caters primarily to able-bodied people and primarily the young. And I'm sorry.
And they take cars off the road.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it
Yes,
doesn't.
it
That's
does.
a ridiculous argument because these are the types of trips that you wouldn't take a car for in the city anyways because of the parking situation, because of all the construction and the road work.
Wait, you mean you don't scooter into work from the West Island, Trudie?
No. You know what? The problem is that the scooter users were scofflaws. The city of Montreal did not make up this requirement they be parked only in certain spots. They looked at the problems that cropped up in other cities where these companies just parachuted their product in, and all of a sudden they became a problem for everybody, including property owners, including horticulturalists, because they were damaging trees and bushes, and they were being dumped into canals by vandals.
They did one thing that was right. The city limited the number of companies that they gave permits to. In other cities where it got out of hand, you go to Paris, they had 12 companies and 20,000 scooters. That is madness, right? But they took a reasoned approach, which is we're only going to allow 1 and then 2 companies, and they only had 1,000 scooters. It was not a problem. I walk every day.
In my view, it would have become a problem if the city hadn't instituted the parking rule. You know, if you have a merchant having to replace a front window because one of these parked scooters gets knocked over into it and shatters it, you've got a problem. And if you're catering to this niche thrill-seeking young
thrill-seeking?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Taking a scooter on a street in Montreal with the potholes and the drivers, you're a thrill seeker. So if you're catering to that niche market, I'm sorry, your people are going to have to be law-abiding. And if you can't ensure that they're law-abiding, salut, bonjour, do we really need scooters? And I'd say the answer is no. For the vast majority of people, not a viable mode of transport.
I got to jump in.
I just want to say, if you drive downtown, if you're driving downtown, how often do you see that sticker in the back, Uber? It's insane, the downtown core, what's happening. And these scooters, what do? They take away those 2 to 3 kilometer trips. Those are you were talking about. Of course, you're not scootering in from the West Island, but the trips from Atwater to Robert Bourassa, those are the trips it was replacing.
And I'm happy you mentioned that stretch of road, because I'm thinking back to this summer where on a nearly nightly basis, I'd go for a walk with my buddy Sam. He lives near Green Avenue, and we would just walk east. And the amount of times that we would have to step over or around scooters that were on the sidewalk, just strewn on the sidewalk. You know what? There are a lot of people with that have mobility issues, that have visibility issues. And I don't know if the pros outweigh the cons here, Elias. I think that might be a better way to do it. I like the way that Uber bikes would have to be locked up to something. There's something that just... It says, well, I don't care if you just drop that scooter there. And if you want to be part of the solution and you want to be greener and you want to be woker, then maybe there's something about caring about your fellow man.
They made the regulations too onerous. And what they should have done is, you know what? Yeah, you can park it on the grass next to the sidewalk. Because I think once you create a situation where where the only place you can do is, the only thing you can do is park it at a major inconvenience to yourself, people will find the easiest, cheapest route out.
I want to live in a city
they didn't offer a decent solution to that problem. Once again, the city says 80% of the time they weren't parked properly. To me, that says the regulation was nonsense.
Well, to me, that says the fine is not big enough.
I'm happy we care about the horticulturalists in this city. That's very important to me.
It's, you know, you're trying to green a city. It's not just putting people on these ridiculous scooters. It's actually having attractive plantations on busy streets, having canopy from trees and so on. And if these things are taking a beating because people are dumping scooters up against them, I'm sorry, it's a problem.
And again, for me, more, it's just about the sidewalks. It's about being able to walk from A to B efficiently. And frankly, a 2-kilometer walk, I think a lot of people could walk that. I don't know. I'd love to look at the numbers. It might require an access to information, but there's no helmet mandatory for these scooters.
There is a helmet mandatory. Nobody wears them.
Well, there's another problem.
Yeah, there's another helmet.
Problem.
Nobody wears them. It's the same thing with e-bikes, by the way.
And I will go with Trudie on the thrill seeker thing, right? They zip. Those things go fast.
Yeah,
man.
But they go fast, and that's why they're successful at doing the job of short trips, right? But it's not a thrill seeker. I see people in suits taking these scooters, right? It's not necessarily a thrill seeker. And if you've got a method of transportation that young people want to use, let them use it, because I see this too often. Young people that are saying, you know what, I'm not going to hop on the metro for 3 stations. I'm going to take an Uber. Yeah. And it's nuts.
Then don't leave it in the middle of the sidewalk for me to trip over.
Yeah. I agree with that. But, you know, I walked all last summer. You know, I walking to work and walking my dog. And I was never like, oh my God, this is unbelievable, the scooters. It happened once where I actually picked up the scooter and moved it to the side.
Well, yeah.
But, you know, like, I don't look at the streets of Montreal and say, oh my God, this is the same issue that they had in Paris or the same issue they had in some U.S. cities, because they only had 2 companies and 1,000 scooters. Don't tell me it was chaos in the streets. There simply weren't enough scooters for it to be chaos.
Chaos on the Golden Square Mile, alas.
All right, let's talk about how the internet's ruining everything now. 2 things. Let's get to 2 stories. One is, okay, what do you guys think about the SPVM shutting down Police Station 11, the NDG police station? They say, hey, you know what? People use the internet. Actually, with this, we're going to be able to provide better service. I kind of like the thought of a neighborhood having a police station. Your take on the SPVM saying, okay, Station 11, gotta go.
They're moving it to, they'll be sharing with, it's Station 9, I believe. Yeah. It's in the former Deli Boys in that Westminster, Côte St. Luc corner. One of the smallest police stations I've ever set foot in. I don't know how this caters to an NDG community that needs a police force. Frankly, I saw a great quote on the news last night from Sue Montgomery, the borough mayor, who said that a lot of the people who live in her borough are afraid to go to the police, are not from countries where going to the police is an easy thing to do. You want to make it more accessible. You want your police force to know, you want to know that your police force is on your side. You don't want to necessarily have to travel so far. And this is Montreal's largest borough. I mean, I don't understand it. I can only hope that there's nothing political involved in this, that this decision was made a long time ago, but I really don't understand it. And
what would be the political thing? Taking Anglo-Borough, get rid of the station in Anglo-Borough?
Take an aim at Sue Montgomery by the Plante administration. I'm not, I don't know if that's the case. I do find this a complete reversal of the whole neighborhood policing philosophy that was brought in years back, where on the theory that you put the police closer to the population that they serve and it improves community ties and blah, blah. And that's basically what Sue Montgomery is saying, that the officers at the NDG station did a lot of outreach in the community, and I applaud them for that. I look at it pragmatically and say the new station the station that they're being moved to is 2.5 kilometers away, and 2.5 kilometers is not that great a difference.
It's a short scooter ride away.
Short scooter ride, exactly.
And Andre Desrochers is saying that patrols will be exactly the same. So if they can maintain visibility, through patrolling, which is what I think is important. It's not necessarily so much the location of the station as the fact that you're seeing the cruisers on the street. I'd like to see how it shakes out.
The idea of saying, I need a cop, let's go to the internet, seems backwards to me.
Well, but that's the thing. Like, so you don't buy this, hey, it's so easy now to report things on our online. And I just pulled up the SPVM website, right? And they've got fully bilingual about the 5 reports that you can do online. Do you buy that argument? Hey, you know what? So much of this stuff can be done online.
In some cases, they won't come. Yeah. So you have to. You either have to go to the station or fill out your report online because they won't send an officer.
I'm going to think about someone like my father in the situation, who I don't know if his first instinct would be to go to the internet for the solution.
It doesn't make sense to me, right? Like, you want to have those local police stations. There's a whole bunch of things in other parts of North America where they've taken these police stations and they've done more with them. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, fine, maybe people aren't showing up and people don't actually go to the police stations. They're looking at resources, but there's ways around that. In some cities across Canada, across the US, they've created zones right outside or in the police station. Hey, you want to sell something online on Kijiji or whatever online trading service or selling service? Come to our stations, meet the purpose here. We meet the person here. We got cameras. You can do it in a safe zone. Why not, instead of closing these things down, find other reasons for people to show up and be part of the community at these stations, right? That to me is surprising that this is the route they're going to take.
I'm disappointed, and I hope that there's a bit of a hue and cry and that things change, because the idea of fewer police stations on the island of Montreal seems backwards to me.
One quick question for you guys. Stokes announcing it's reducing its Canadian footprint a few days after Pier 21 says we're getting the heck out of Canada as well. You guys shopping in retail stores like these anymore, or is everything online for you?
Well, I have shopped at Stokes before, but I'm just wondering if anyone's buying that stuff anymore. Yeah. Does anyone, we're supposed to be, the younger generations are supposed to be less materialistic than the older generations.
Knickknacks?
Are they actually knickknacks and fancy china?
People
and
love that stuff.
Nice glasses, maybe.
The fancy china, that is going the way of the dinosaur. I've read some stuff about that, but the knickknacks, people love.
I don't know. You should see the lineup at Winners near my place.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
That's a knickknack store, right? Okay, folks, thanks so much. Dave Kaufman, Trudie Mason, wonderful debating with you. Trudie, let's go get an e-scooter.
We'll go for a ride.
Like Thelma and Louise on the e-scooters.